Hi, this is Paul from finishYourSong.com, and it's been a few weeks since I've posted a video, and there's a reason for that, and it's this. I've been working on an ebook which will shortly be available to download from the blog at finishYourSong.com. That's if you're watching this in the week leading up to Christmas 2014 that I released the video. The ebook, the Total Beginner's Guide to Home Recording, will be available from the blog, and it's a way to entice you to join my email list, which I'm going to try and build up so that I can communicate with people on a more regular basis. As I say, I'm recording this just before Christmas 2014, and I'm going to have a look at a free gift. If you've been following my blog or any of my YouTube videos for a while, you'll know that I'm inherently averse to paying full price for everything. And when something comes along that you don't have to pay for at all, well, happy days. Or as it says here, happy holidays. This is the Native Instruments website as it went live tonight, and they're giving away a digital delay, a free plugin. What more could you want for Christmas? They've done this before. Last year they launched Supercharger, which was their analog style compressor, and that was a great giveaway. Supercharger itself is now part of Complete, but they gave away the cut down version as a freebie last Christmas. They always do something at Christmas. It's very nice of them. So Replika is the digital delay they're giving away, and I wanted to have a quick play with it tonight, and I thought I'd share with you as we go. So what is it? Well, it's a digital delay. It's a stereo delay plugin, but it kind of blurs the boundaries between a digital delay and a reverb, and I want to have a look at how it does that. So what I've got, if we just close that down, this is one of my old songs, Flames in the Fire, and what I've done is I've extracted the relevant tracks that I want to have a quick look at. Now I am following the manual here because it does actually suggest that you should have a look at these type of things. So there are some worked examples, and I thought if I worked through the examples and recorded it as I went, that might be useful, and it might persuade people that it's worth getting a free plugin. Not that I suspect you're going to need a lot of persuading. So we'll start with lead guitar. Now what I've got here is a lead guitar sound. It's got some sends which I'm going to mute, and it's got some EQ on it, and I'm going to just mute out Replika. I've got an instance of Replika on all of these tracks that you can see here. So we're just going to I'll unmute it, and we'll just have a quick listen to me playing a bit of lead guitar. Okay, so that's me playing the intro riff. So let's have a look at Replika. This is the interface for Replika, and it's quite clever in a way what they've done. Up here you've got your input and output levels, and as you can see when you hover near them you actually get a reading. But if I just set it going for a moment, you can see that these are actually ladder displays as well. So it's all in one display, and that sort of hover over it and it changes functionalities all over this GUI. It's really nice. You've got three delay modes: modern, which is your modern digital delay; vintage digital, which is more of the early days digital delay; and diffusion, which is getting more into a kind of early digital reverb type of sound. Now watch these controls at the bottom. For modern you get a saturation control, low cut and high cut. If I pull that down to vintage digital, the quality, low cut and high cut, and if I pull it down to diffusion, you get amount, size and movement, and again, as you can see, as I move the mouse over them, they're actually changing to give me values. So that's really neat. Instead of having multiple controls, the controls relabel themselves as you go. What we've got here is how the delay works. This is tempo synced to a dotted note, and underneath you've got an eighth note. And that's controlled by this dial here. So dotted 16th, dotted eighth, dotted quarter, triplets, or straight milliseconds. So, or straight. So we're going to go back to dotted eighth notes for a while. That's your mix control. That's your feedback control, how much delay you get. If you're familiar with the controls on a delay, these are all fairly standard things. And then you've got this here, which is wide, ping pong for a ping pong delay, or normal. Over here you've got a modulation section. It's off at the moment, but it comes complete with a phaser. You get deep depth, feedback and frequency, or a filter. I'm not going to use them much, I think, in this video. We're just going to concentrate mostly on seeing some of the settings here. So for guitar, it's reckoning that the mix should be 80 odd %. The feedback should be 15. We're leaving it at the world famous dotted eighth note, favoured by certain Irish guitarists. And it says the stereo setting should be ping pong. So this now apparently gives us a sense of space. So here we go. Well, that certainly added a little something. I mean, I know there's a reverb on that guitar anyway. I'll play it again and I'll punch it in halfway through. Quite nice. Now the next example that they've given in the manual, we'll just mute that and unmute that, is what they call moving space. And we'll just loop this. What I've got is a simple E minor chord played on an electric piano. And we'll loop it. Okay, so I'm going to set the delay mode to diffusion. The amount to 0 for the moment, size to 6, and movement to 0. Okay, set the mix to 0 and 100%. Oops. So that's full wet because you've got 100% wet, and the feedback to 70. And we're going to select ping pong again. And what we should have is stereo delay moving either side of the field. Indeed we do. Now it says to increase the amount to 50% and see how it turns into a reverb. Indeed, it's quite a reverb there going on. So this delay is capable of providing us with a reverb as well. Just mute that. Okay, so vocals. And again, we have an instance. Now here, this is the original vocal chain I had. It's going through a de-esser, through an LA2A replica from T-Rex, and from a PushTech EQ, which is a freeware plugin that emulates a Pultec. So we'll just open up the replica, and we'll see what it reckons. Now then, here it says delay time to 55 milliseconds, so we're actually going for something that's not lined up with the tempo but is actually fixed. Set the mix to 8614. Okay, and we should now have a vocal track that sounds like it was recorded in a small room. We'll play a bit of the vocal. Just track 10. Well, it's actually track 11. We'll unloop it. So we'll start the vocal again. Let's try this with it working.
Talk to me of wine and roses, happy days gone by. Looking on a bleak horizon will bring tears to my eyes.
So there you've got kind of a slapback echo. Now the next one is stereo widening, and we're going to use this acoustic guitar. Now this acoustic guitar was recorded as a mono track. So what I've done is I've dragged the mono recording onto a stereo output track just by adding a stereo audio track and then dragging this off its original mono track, and we'll see what we get. So here we've got our replica. I'm going to set the delay mode to modern again. I'm going to again set this to 5 milliseconds, so we're really getting down. It says to hold shift for fine increments. Mix at 80/20, which it near enough is. Turn off the feedback, so no feedback at all, but we've got the wide setting on, so turn it off, and here we go with the acoustic. So you can hear it's adding some width to the guitar. Not a great deal. It's not making it super stereo wide, but it is adding some depth to it. Okay, and the final one it's talking about in the manual is epic percussion reverb. So what we're going to do for this is we're going to go to this extra drums track, and we're going to go to the end, because right at the end of this song there is a rototom fill. Okay, so I'll play you that in the context of the drums. Oops, wrong one. So as you can hear, there's plenty of ambience around the drums, but there isn't a lot around the rototoms. If I just solo them and bypass the replica, you'll hear that there's not a lot of ambience happening with them. So pretty dry. So if we unmute the replica, open up the instance of it, we can have a look, see what it recommends to add some depth to it. Okay, so we're going to go for diffusion in this occasion. 50/50 mix, and the amount at 60%. Size to 6, and movement to 1.3. So we're not going to ask for a great deal of movement, whatever movement is. Right, okay, so it says we should now hear a strong tail in the background. Let's have a listen and see if that's true. Well, yep, there's definitely a strong tail in there. And it says here, so we'll use the pre-delay as a pre-delay. So we go into using this as milliseconds and use this as 65 milliseconds or thereabouts. 66, I'm sure, 1 millisecond. Stereo wide, feedback to 65%. And let's hear what we've done to our rototoms. Yeah, so considerable amount of oomph there. So what we'll do is I'll just take it back and just make sure that's not actually sounding. And we'll see what that drum fill sounds like in the context of the rest of the drums. Well, a bit overpowering, but we've only been setting the values suggested for quite dramatic reverb, and I think you can agree it is a dramatic reverb. So it's been a very quick canter across the course, but that's Replika. It's free. It's got quite a lot of features on it. We haven't even touched this modulation section. And happy Christmas. And I'll see you next year. Don't forget, keep an eye out. Over the Christmas period, I will be making the ebook available. And until next year, you take care of yourselves.